Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome back to the Speed Chess Championship in 2024 that you can follow now on chess.com. The game that I'll show you now is actually the decisive game between Moke, Niemann and Maxime-Vachier-Lagrave, and I think this game is so far the most exciting moment of the Speed Chess Championship for sure, because before this round Maxime and Hans, both of them had 11.5 points, so the winner takes it all. Let's see now what happened. If you haven't heard about the results so far, I think this is a result that will be mentioned now in the chess community for sure. So in the last bullet game with the white pieces, Hans opened with the move e4. Maxime's response was c5, the Sicilian, knight to f3, d6, modern stuff. We have now the move bishop to b5, which is now the so-called Moscow variation, simply forcing now a reaction by black. And I myself like more to go into this line with knight to d7, where you're keeping your light square bishop on the board and then maybe you're trying to kick away afterwards the bishop with a6. Here Maxime goes into this line, which is of course a more simple way to proceed, but now after knight to d7, Hans goes into a very interesting line after kingside castling and rook to c8. He goes now with a very cool idea, with a theoretical novelty, with an early d3 move. And this move, first of all, what it does, it protects so far the e4 pawn, and now Hans is trying to break and enter with the move c3 and then afterwards with move d4. Here Maxime goes into the fianchetto stuff, goes into sort of a dragon Sicilian structure with bishop to g7. He has already this firm structure on dark squares, is of course trying to do something on this diagonal. Hans prepares this idea, c3 d4, occupying the center. We have bishop to g7, and now Hans immediately of course breaks in the center. We have c takes d4, c takes d4, and now after knight to f6, hitting the pawn here, Hans simply develops knight to c3. Hans has a great grip here with both of this powerful knight, has of course also the beautiful powerful central control with his pawns. Is a great restriction, of course. It's not allowing any activity by black's minor pieces here. So but we have now kingside castling, and now comes, believe me or not, already the critical moment of the game. Here Hans plays queen to e2, and this idea, I think we can agree, is a clear idea that Hans is trying to break and enter with the move e5. And now the only good move here, the only good choice for black to prevent this move e5 is actually to play the move queen to c7. Queen to c7 is a very important move. First of all, what this move is doing, it's controlling further the e5 square, but it also prepares the move queen to c4, trading off the queens, because white has the dominant position in the center of the board. White has a powerful grip in the center, but in order to simplify the game, you need to take the queens off the board. And now in a potential line, if white tries now the move e5, Maxime didn't play queen to c7. If you try e5, then you take, and then after d takes e5, you have this one, knight to g4, and now you attack this pawn 4 times with both of the knights, with the bishop, also with the queen. And now in order to stay in the game, white has to be aggressive. But now comes the idea, as I mentioned, queen to c4. You go for trades of queens. After queen takes c4, rook to c4, you can pick up now this pawn on e7. Okay, black lost the pawn, but now after a couple more moves, b3, rook to c2 or something, this pawn on e5 is falling, and now black has also a very active rook on the second rank. There's no good way anymore to protect this pawn for sure, so that's why I think this is a good continuation here for black. Maybe even slightly better when it comes to pure piece activity. I would love to maybe play even more this position from black's perspective. But after move queen to e2, Maxime plays now a very bad move, a6, and allows now here Hans to break and enter immediately with move e5. And you see now this concept with d takes e5 and something like d takes e5, knight to g4 is actually not so dangerous anymore for white to handle, because white has this move bishop to f4. Now if you try queen to c7, rook to e1, and white stays here with the space advantage on the 5th rank. Of course nothing lost for black, but still there are some worries with maybe to break and enter with move e6. So even in this line, white should be much better here. So that's why here after move e5, Maxime played even a worse continuation, plays now knight to e8, retreating, and forces now here a bad continuation for him. Now e6 immediately breaks the position of black's. F takes e6, queen takes e6, and after king to h8, knight to g5, here white is, I would dare to say, even lost. Well, of course, it's a bullet game. Many things can happen, but unbelievable that after 15 moves, Maxime-Vachier-Lagrave has already completely losing game. Really wild stuff. So Here after knight to g5, Maxime goes for the pawn at least. We have knight to f7, obviously here the fork against the king and the queen. We have rook takes f7, and now after queen to f7, now Maxime is trying maybe somehow to do something here to trap the queen to be aggressive, because the queen is still of course on an unnatural square, so that's why maybe going for the queen is an option. But Hans continues to pressure with bishop to h6, threatens even immediately the checkmate on g7. Knight to g4, here at least against something by Maxime, hitting maybe the h2 pawn, but also protecting so far the g7 square, and also of course also attacking the bishop on h6. We have bishop to g5 by Hans, we have queen to f8, and now, believe me or not, Hans almost is losing here the game because of the next move he plays now, the move queen to e7. The position is about equal, but I think if Maxime would have played now the next move, the next best move, I think white would be under huge pressure. Obviously, after queen to e7, here Hans got a little bit greedy. He went for a pawn, although obviously the best way is simply simplify the game. You're up the exchange. After rook to f7, you can go for this one. Then maybe after bishop to f2, you can step back. But nothing spectacular here also for black. This pawn is weak. This rook is coming into the game for sure through the d file. So as I said, queen takes f8, best move here for white, but Hans played queen to e7, allowed here knight to f2 by Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Maxime, believe me or not, didn't play that. Knight to f2 is a very dangerous position now for white to handle. You have to play something like h3, then we pick up here this one, then we play knight to e4 check. You have to step back. Now we play bishop to e5. Suddenly black's pieces are breeding, black's pieces are playing in beautiful harmony. So you have also worries around the square c3. Bishop is coming, this one is protected. There is now huge pressure against the king, and you can always do repetition if you want, maybe with some checks by the bishop, and then also with the check here again on e5. But unfortunately for Maxime, he played now the bad queen to f7. What was he thinking? He is allowing here again Hans to have a completely winning position. Now Hans realizes the problems around the square f2, plays now the solid bishop to e3, bishop to e5. We have now the move h3, knight to f6, and now bishop to h6, again going for the same stuff, trying to deliver checkmate on g7, knight to g8, attacking the bishop. And now Hans is finally trying to simplify the game by trading off the queens, which is a good choice in such fast time formats. Maybe there are always some better options, but I think the usual computer evaluations doesn't matter here, because you just play by your feeling. This is a really bullet game. You have to now simplify the game as much as you can, because going into the fully endgame stages, of course, much better here for white. Queen to f7 by Maxime. Now Hans goes back, knight to e7, and now bishop to g5, again going for a simplification, maybe trading off even the bishop for a knight and going into the fully endgame stage. Knight to f5. You see Maxime is trying to keep pieces on the board, although again maybe there are better options or better moves for black, but who cares? It's a battle now. It's a survival game now by both sides. We have rook from a to d1, h5. We have rook from f to e1, and now king to h7, knight to d5, occupying now the good square here with the knight. Rook to c4. Now Maxime is going also for an attack, tries to do something. He's playing now the most active moves that the position is allowing here. Of course, white is much better, but Maxime is trying. Knight to e3. We have rook to d4, again a threat, queen to e2, and now rook to e4. You see, again Maxime is battling, tries to do at least simple threats in order to keep here Hans occupied. Queen to f3, knight to c5. This other knight comes now in a beautiful way into the game. We have knight takes f5, g takes f5. Again, you see Maxime is trying to keep more pieces on the board. If he trades off the queens, of course, then the game is over. So that's why g takes f5, the only good continuation here for black. Bishop to e3 by Hans. We have knight to e6, bishop to c1, hitting the queen now, and now queen to d3. Good move by Hans, of course, also trying to do some trades again by the rooks, and also keeping an eye on here the bad king on h7. We have queen to g6, f3, and now rook to h4. Again, you see Maxime is doing simple threats, at least something that bothers now Hans. Rook to h3 is a huge threat, and then maybe with bishop to h2 breaking in entry. So that's why king to f1 by Hans. You see Hans is also not playing the optimal moves. The best way here is actually to proceed with f4, which would basically force a reaction of the trades of the bishops, and rook to h3 is not working anymore because the queen on d3 is connected to the h3 square. So see, also by Hans, not the most precise play, because this is a fast time format game. After king to f1, we have knight to e6 again. Here Maxime Vachier-Lagrave is trying somehow to get the pieces on better squares. We have bishop to e3, rook to a4, queen to b3, hitting now the knight, hitting also the pawn on b7, hitting also the rook, and now rook to a5. Here Maxime is trying, of course, to play something like rook to b5 and then not allow here queen takes b7. But now immediately queen takes b7 by Hans. We have bishop to g7, rook takes d6. Now Hans has a completely winning game here because he's pinning the knight. The knight is connected to the bishop. There is now also the pin on the 7th rank. What we need to do is maybe just include more pieces into the attack. Here Maxime goes now with this line, rook takes a2, and now, believe me or not, Hans makes a new mistake. He played now the inaccurate queen to b3. A better choice here is actually to play a stunning bishop to d4. This is the best move. You cannot take out with the knight because of the tensions, as I said, on the 6th rank, and you cannot also take with the bishop because of the tensions on the 7th rank. Queen to b3, bad mistake by Hans, which allows here, again, I'm pointing out white is much better here. It's not like Maxime is winning here, but queen to b3 allows here again rook takes b2 by Maxime. You see, hitting the queen, also threatening the checkmate on g2. Really crazy position. Hans has to give up now the queen. Queen takes b2, bishop to b2, bishop to f2. Finally Hans solves everything, and now he has, of course, also the opportunity to pick up the knight. We have now the move bishop to c3. Again, a new blunder by Maxime. Better choice was to play queen to f7. You will probably lose this knight on e6, but then at least you can push the pawn. After something like rook to a6, you can cover, and maybe you're battling, maybe you're staying somehow in the game. But after bishop to c3, Hans plays now, of course, first of all, rook to e6, queen to f7, a new mistake. Better choice is, of course, to cover yourself or something, but again, it doesn't matter. Then we play something like this, again, game over. But after queen to f7, obviously the simple threat of queen to e7 is rook to e7 is working here, trapping now the queen, and actually in this particular position MVL resigned. So Hans Moke Niemann won his match in the Speed Chess Championship against Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, who won now the recent really great tournament. Maxime was really in top shape, and now Hans won. What's the most important part, I would say, that Hans won the last 4 games in this match against MVL. So Hans was on fire in the last 4 games and is now meeting Wesley So in the quarterfinals of the spectacular tournament. Great performance by Hans. Hans was really happy, really excited that he got through. MVL to me was even the top favorite to win this whole thing, because when I watched now MVL playing the last couple of weeks, I thought he's in the final for sure. Probably will wait Magnus, I don't know, Hikaru or someone in the finals, but he's now out, and this is crazy. Hans, if he, for instance, wins the game against Wesley So, if he wins the match against Wesley So, then he could meet Magnus Carlsen, and I don't want to think about it. What will happen in the match between Hans and Magnus Carlsen? This will be epic. This will be, I don't know, the game of the century, the game of the century when it comes to online chess. crazy game between a crazy match between MVL and Hans Moke Niemann for sure. So congratulations for Hans. He, I think, deserves his place because he played awesome chess today. Really aggressive, sharp, tactical chess, which is really hard to play against such a player like MVL. MVL is a great tactician himself, but Hans pushed him always in his game. So congratulations, and of course we wish Hans the best in the next couple of rounds. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting stuff is going on in the chess community for sure. If you want to see also one game that we have covered already between Hans and MVL, here's also a link of the video. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.